And now we're going to look at the mental health contributor of giving. Bettina.
So as social beings, we are really wired to give to each other. So there have been experimental studies now that have shown this link between giving behaviour and our own well-being. For example, there was a study where they randomly gave envelopes to people on the street. And in your envelope, you were either told to spend the $5 they were giving you on yourself, or you were told to spend it on somebody else. Then they controlled for the amount, so they did the same with $20.
Okay.
And then later on, they phoned the people, and they found that the people who had spent that money on somebody else felt happier. Their well-being was improved. And actually, it didn't matter how much. So there have been many other studies where we find that kind of giving social support to other people actually reduces your own response to threat, and your own kind of stress response. So contrary to what you might expect, giving to others is actually more beneficial to the person that's doing the giving. So we also know that when we think about compassion, which is an important part of giving, we are actually hardwired to be compassionate. But it's a bit like language. You have to be exposed to it in order for it to develop within ourselves. So we are, born with this biological propensity to learn language, but we know from studies of kind of feral children that you don't develop language unless it's in the environment in which you're living. The same is true for compassion. So we don't teach children to be compassionate, we just do it around them.
Yeah.
So that's another important kind of part of the science, I think.
It goes back to what they see you do is more powerful than what they see you say.
Yeah, it goes back to this idea of modelling, absolutely. And then much more recently, there's been a real focus on self-compassion. So we know that people who have a lot of self-criticism often really struggle with their mood. It can be related to anxiety, to depression. But if we are able, so self-compassion is not just about being nice to ourselves, it's about accepting all of ourselves, accepting our faults. And there are enormous emotional benefits to self-compassion. And we also know that people who are self-compassionate, actually, they tend to make wiser choices in life. Research and studies have found that, and they're even kinder to others. So there are lots of benefits to that.
It's quite exhausting being hard on yourself all the time, isn't it? So how would this translate into a home situation?
So the first thing is to offer and value opportunities to give to others, for your children to give to others, within your community, within your home, and recognising the benefit of that.
So do you mean value in that if your child does something that is giving to somebody else, that you almost give as much praise as you would if they did, got an A in the maths test or whatever else? Absolutely. And exactly. And it's again, opportunities. It's making the links for them. And exactly. Let them make the choice. Actually, there is some research showing that they need to make the choice of which person they want to be giving to. Is there a charity that really resonates with them? But it's really going to foster their sense of well-being. Cultivating, modelling this kindness and compassion, as we talked about a little bit earlier. Be nice to my husband, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even, when they come back and they talk about friends not being nice to them or something like that, always being compassionate when you're talking about other people.
Sometimes what you think you perhaps shouldn't say about... it's difficult if your child has had a falling out at school. You want to sort of say, oh,
and someone was a bit unkind to them.
You kind of want to...
but just saying, I wonder what was going on for them. That's kind of showing how to be compassionate, even when people aren't at their best. And then modelling this self-compassion. So, practicing it with our kids. So if you are really critical to your kids, that critical voice will go inside their head and they will carry it forward. So try to reduce that. But also maybe modelling self-compassion on yourself. About yourself.
Parents are not very good about this, are they?
We're not very good about that. So if you, I think, we were thinking earlier, weren't we, if you burn the dinner or something.
Every week. So not sort of say, I'm so used to sit cooking.
Yeah,
but actually,
I'm used to, exactly.
Okay, I will try that. There are lots of things that I need to be kinder. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's the message they see. That